Now let's talk about what keep going means. How often do you ask yourself whether you should keep going or whether you should stop? That's a very, very important question to ask yourself. Now, you probably already asked that question to yourself. However, do you actually do it, right? So let's think about this. There are two patterns here. There is a pattern of keep going or keeping going, yeah? And there is a pattern of stopping. And depending on when you decide to stop or how you decide to keep going, you can begin to predict how you will stick to your goals or achieving your goals, and or you'll stop right before you achieve it, and or any variation of such. So what is it that you will want to do to help you recognize when to stop and when to keep going, right? Because that's really the big question. If you could tell every time when you keep going that you know, oh, this is going to work out, and you keep going and it works out, you realize, oh, that really was worth it. And there are people out there that keep going when it's not worth it and they don't know when to stop, right? And for those of you who know when to stop and stop early, it saves you time and energy. So the question is, how do you know when to keep going then and when to stop? The trick here actually does not lie within the context of this keep going or stopping. It actually is about how long term you've set your goals. Consider this. If you only knew what you want for tomorrow and maybe this week, it's hard for your unconscious mind to give you an answer of when to keep going, when to stop. The key is knowing the final destination and the milestones along the way. So your unconscious mind has an easy time judging when to keep going. So the way to do so is actually to design your next 90 years. If you have your next 90 years designed, what you'll find is that you will know what you want to accomplish over the next 9 decades. And your unconscious mind will have an easy time knowing when to keep going and when to stop. Because based on the final coordinates, the unconscious mind knows how to course correct. It knows when to plot a different route, a reroute, yeah? So for you to really know, you need to have long-term goals. That's actually the solution. And then it'll be easy for you to have a feeling, and that feeling from your unconscious, as you develop it, it becomes more obvious. And now, what is this feeling and how do you develop it? This feeling is an answer. Because your unconscious mind is capable of extremely fast and complex calculations in a very short amount of time, frankly, microseconds, if not less. You get a gut feeling of whether something is what you want to keep going or not. Now, if you don't have a 90-year plan or something long-term, your mind is just going to base it off of whatever you've experienced in the past. So let's say you had a relationship that wasn't so good in the past, and because you don't have a long-term goal set up and you don't have any design of who you want to be with, you may end up using this feeling of, oh, maybe I shouldn't keep going, because you get a feeling of, oh, I should stop. But that's just right before the relationship progress, and you wonder why you never, find the one. Something like that can happen. And or in business, right? If you find an opportunity and you don't keep going because you're like, oh, it's because this other person treated me this way, or it's because this happened or that happened, and it's because it's just not the right time. All those things can actually come from your past and your memories of not succeeding and not keep going. So your unconscious mind, frankly, can only base it off of your past. So you must begin to set goals that are very long term so your mind knows the final destination, and it will help you keep going as you know what your goals are. It'll help you keep going towards that. And if it's not something that will aid you in achieving your final destination or the milestones along the way, your unconscious mind will give you a very distinctive feeling of that you shouldn't keep going. Now, there are two things that you must pay attention to. One is every time you keep going and you succeed at something and you feel good after, you must anchor that feeling by telling your unconscious mind or treating your unconscious mind to a reward. And telling your unconscious mind, hey, good job, thank you. Your unconscious mind does understand. It is you, after all, yeah? And thank your unconscious mind for keeping you going, yeah? For keeping you going and helping you get to the destination. Now, if you experience the stopping, yeah, right before something that wasn't necessarily good for you, and you stop it, early enough, and you find out that ends up not being a good thing. Well, I mean, it being a good thing that you stopped, and if you had kept going, it wouldn't have been a good thing. Then you need to also do the same thing. Reward your unconscious mind for helping you stop. How many people can't stop a behavior or habit because they've had it for so long? Yeah, that same habit can be something that leads you to not succeeding as quickly as you'd like. So it's key for you to recognize what those things are and for you to get rid of them. Now, for you to know what you need to keep going and what you need to not keep going, you need to keep a list. First off, after you design your 90-year plan, you need to keep a list of behaviors that are actually contributing to you achieving your goal. You can just brainstorm and write down next to your goals over the years, over the next 90 years, and I would write a list of 10 goals per 10 years, per decade, yeah? 10 goals per decade over the next 90 years. That's just 90 goals. And those gotta be big, right? They have to be big because they're more like annual goals. And as you notice what they are, what the goals are, you need to think and you just sit there and relax. This is simple. And you ask your unconscious mind, what is it that I'm doing that contribute to the success of it? And then next to it, you find an empty space and write, what am I doing that is actually not contributing to the success of it? And you have an inventory of those things. And then you need to judge, yeah? And you can test it with different items. You need to judge, okay, is this thing, if I keep going, would it help me? And you can actually ask your unconscious mind that question, and you'll get a feeling, an inkling inside of you, a feeling of yes or no. And it's very helpful. And the more you do it, the more you train your unconscious mind to respond honestly, genuinely, and helpfully. Your unconscious mind will speak louder and let you know easily and more effortlessly. Now, success requires that you stop wasting energy and keep going on what's going to lead you to the final coordinates. So you gotta know what you need to stop in your life so that you can stop wasting energy and time. There are a lot of successful people that waste a lot of time in their lives, and they wonder why they have to work so much to create the success. The key is to be able to eliminate those things. Next, to become really good at this, you need to master 2 things, yeah? And this is how you trace back, along with the list of behaviors that are contributing to your next 90-year plan and the goals within, you need to get really good at identifying these 2 things. One is identify what was the last time you kept going when it was hard. But it ends up working out, right? You gotta know what caused you, like what was the motivation that led you to keep going. That way you can install it, right? Installation is simple. You simply do the thing in the sequence you want, right? For example, if you want to install a good habit of, let's say, reading, a lot of wonderful content, from a really great book that you want to read, you want to install that right before bed. All you have to do is do it before bed a number of times and it gets installed. Now, of course, you're not here because, you want to be told. What I will tell you is for you to install what you want, the key and the trick is to get yourself into an alter state. Remember what this is. The alter state is when you get into a deeply relaxed focus state. And you can do so by finding a spot in front of you where the wall meets the ceiling, an imaginary dot, perhaps, up high, and you allow yourself to stare at it and allow your awareness to expand to 180 degrees and beyond. And then you do the behavior. It actually is called the learning state because it's easy for you to learn a new behavior in that state. Test it and you'll know. It may sound so simple right now. As you do it, you'll realize how powerful it is. And the second thing that you need to be really good at identifying is to realize when the last time was that you stopped, even when it was hard. Even when it was hard to stop. Now, why is it that you need to master that and know when that is? Well, by mastering, what I really mean is you need to know when was the last time you got motivated enough to stop. By recognizing and identifying what you did that was unique, that allow you to keep going when it was hard or stop when it was hard to stop, you will find yourself having an easy time starting and stopping just the right things that will lead you to the final outcome. See, people don't think about how good they need to be at keep going or stopping. What you'll see online, oftentimes is don't give up. A meme that has some cool story that says don't give up. The problem is it's not about not giving up. It's about knowing how to keep going and what's uniquely present in your mind that caused you to keep going. Well, that one thing, in the past, you have done those things. You can find those patterns within those experiences. And the key is also, on top of it, have a 90-year plan. So your mind knows the final destination and the coordinates along the way, because it can calculate and predict those. And then the other key is to know when to stop. So guys, just to recap once again, really simply, if you want to be really good at achieving your goals, you need to know how to keep going and how to stop, even when it is not easy to do so. This is what will set you apart as the champion. And it will seem magical how you can just keep winning, consistently and constantly. The trick to mental fortitude and your ability to keep going and your ability to stop is the key to success. And you'll notice that this is what the outside world may think, hey, this person's very disciplined. But all you need to be really good at is knowing how to keep going and how to stop.